Okay, let's get started. Just making sure I can see everybody as best I can, even though you can't. I look like I'm swimming underwater. Let's get started, and we're going to do that facing the short end of our mat. Have a little bit of space because we'll work towards that. We're going to come into what I call Ruddy Duck. So it's the knees are together and the shins are on the mat. And you'll notice that also in morning practice that this area in the front of the shin usually pops up. It's a little bit tight. That's where the weight and the pressure of our hips coming back can help open this area, fanning out the feet. So just have this sense. You can take your fingers and pull these toes apart, settle the hips, and then bring the elbows below the shoulders and the palms facing down, just somewhere comfortable. Again, if this is too low already for the morning and you feel your lower back's reacting uncomfortably, then just prop or go higher. Okay, adjust, be creative to accommodate our uniqueness. So closing the eyes for a moment and just letting the breath kind of move in and out. And if you're sort of in the shape that I'm in, the belly will be pressing against the thighs as we inhale, which has an interesting effect for the lower back. And just start to become familiar with the sense of breath moving in and out. Perhaps it's an image of waves or seesawing. Whatever brings you closer to the ebb and the flow is what you want to sort of develop and foster in your practice. It really helps. It's sort of like, not that we buy helium balloons anymore, I hope, but if you did, the tethering of that rope from a helium balloon, if it kind of has a tendency to wander off, but you can always gently tug it back. And just be mindful of bringing it back by that gentle tug on the rope, on the string, the same way that our breath can move us back in if we start to wander out and away. So just slowly, as the gaze is down, open the eyes, let the light come in. And this is going to be, every single thing is going to present differently for all of us. Remember, okay, these are just guidelines. So patterns say, so you cut the pattern bigger or smaller that sees fit. So if you're in a shape I am in the forearms, take the right arm, stretch it out forward and bring it over, right over to the left side, sort of parallel to the shoulder, not up, try to keep it parallel, creep it over to the left side, and then slowly offer this right shoulder towards the mat. Noting the lower back on the right side, the side of the right shoulder. And again, on this one, the inhalation will present the depth. And you want to kind of move the body open on the right ribs. And then come out, put that forearm down and go to the other side, taking the left arm straight up and out to the left. Again, if the arm is closer to the top of your mat, it's going to be less intense. If you're a bit tight for your shoulders today, do that. Get down there, press down, offer the left shoulder towards the mat, evening out the chest and the back, staying pretty strong through the heels still, if you can. It's not too much. And again, now just develop this little bit of opening on the side of the shoulder, just getting ready. I always ease in. You don't want to jump into huge postures. A lot of warming up really helps. Come back, press into the hands, and we're going to pull our hips from the heels, separate our knees. Now, you probably need to take the hands one hand length forward. And here we are in this classic table. So let's just focus on our upper back. So instead of try to stay intact with your neck, and when we bring the shoulder blades towards the spine, and you'll feel this dipping down of the chest. Wait to get that sense. Plug the belly up so everything doesn't drag down, and then push back to neutral. Don't go over where we're doming the back. Just come back with a nice upper back squared, shoulder blades comfortable away from the spine, and drop it down again. Do a few of these, up and drop. The chin isn't moving forward. It's just this movement in the shoulders. You feel the skin. Ooh. Good. Up and down. And then stay up where you feel the chest is nice and buoyant, as is the upper back. And then simply move down the posture towards the navel, maybe just above the pubic bone, and squeeze the area in. And I tell you, you probably feel your tailbone dip a little bit in your lower back dome a little bit. Don't overdo. Keep it a small movement and let it go. Do a few of those. Tug and don't release and everything flops down. It's tug and stay active. Tug. You feel the heat building up. Tiny movements. And then we're going to put it all together for cat-cow. So let's pull the hands towards the knees and knees towards the hands. You'll feel the traction, possibly the back of the arms energized. Remember, do that. Take that inhale and reach the crown and the tailbone up, but try to keep strong through that central core so you don't feel all saggy in your belly button. And then push those hands and the shins away and dome back. Really create a lot of space from the back of the head to the tailbone. And another 2 more of these. Inhaling, nice long breath. Take the pause and just sit with it for a moment and then push it away, releasing, cleansing, get all that staleness out. 1 more nice, deep, long inhalation. Pause, accept, and then push. Nice. Come back, feel the ease when you find that spine where all the muscle can release the tension. Shift the weight into the right hand, and we're going to take the left hand from the mat and just bring it, float it right out from the shoulder. Palm will face down, fingers are spread, so there's lots of space. That means an active pound. Get used to feeling what it's like to have an active palm versus a good. And stay here, and then slowly just address your diaphragm area. If you feel it sagging again, pull it back, engage it, feel it magnetize to the spinal line, and then slowly take this left arm above the shoulder. Keep the hips as square as possible. It may not get right above the shoulder. Press down through the right hand, up through the fingers of the left, long through the neck. And then slowly on one of the exhalations, bring the hand back to there, but continue it. You're going to have to bend the elbow, back of the hand looks to the floor, and send it right out to the other side, bending the right arm as you need to. Get this left side of the head and the left shoulder down on the mat. Even out the hips. They're going to want to follow you. Right hand stays where it is. Just stay here. Thread the needle. Feel the waist. And then come back up and just place the hand down. Do it on the other side. Right arm comes up and out, straight from the shoulder. Strong arm, defined. Muscles right out. And then focus really on this sort of front of your left shoulder before anything. This needs to open so that you're not just squeezing the shoulder blades and squinching your neck. So begin to open this left shoulder. You can even bring your right hand to it if you want to feel the space being created. And then the right arm stacks up, and then refine the lines as we breathe. So once we create the shape and we fill it in, right? Go to areas that might be a little bit dark that are calling us, right? For me, it was my hips. They started to lift. I'm just going to call them back to neutral if I can. Maybe pull in that front core in towards the spine. Already the heat's building up, and then soften it down, back of the hand all the way through, side of the head down and the side of the shoulder down. Again, this is huge for the upper back, rotator cuff. Good. And then just plant that hand down. Take the toes under, stretching out the feet, lift the bottom and send the hips back for a moment, and just take a little pulse into the feet, getting some more space for the toes, getting some spreading at the ball of both feet, and the arches waking them up. We're going to balance. So come back, release the feet, take the right leg up and out from the hip this time. Spread the toes. I'd try to keep the kneecap and the thigh muscles looking to the floor right now. All right, now, just visualize, sense the forehead, sense the chin, sense the chest, sense the pubic bone, the thigh, the right knee, and the toes. and feel they're all on exactly one plane. Doesn't matter if they are or not, just the intention. Slide forward on that plane. Feel the wrists a little bit achy, that's fine. And then just try not to move the chin forward, just let this dipping action. So we're offering the upper chest, so where the collarbones, feel them moving towards the front of your mat. Try not to lift the chin. Stop where you need to and refine it. Shaking is gonna happen, heat is gonna build. Be ready for that. Be okay with it. Back away if you need to. I'm shaking, shaking, shaking. This is not about going down with the nose to the mat at all. Straighten up, bring back. Whew. Bring that right foot down and plant it on the ground and stretch into the pinky side of it. Really stretch out the side of the foot, the side of the calf, and then slowly take this right arm up and off. Let's visit the left shin. Can you press the top of the left foot down? Stay here. Breathing in the shape, and then start to come to the ball of your right foot. You'll feel the shifting of the weight forward over the left hand. And then maybe take this right foot from the mat. You might not want to, but it's kind of cool to be okay with being shaky and wobbly, but also building that strength and stability. Being okay with it, being okay with it. Bring the leg down first, and then the arm sweeps around and down. Come back. Take a moment. Just move the hips back a little bit. You'll just feel the hinge a little, and then flip the hands. Don't put too much pressure on them, especially if you've had any wrist injuries. You know, this is just a counter pose. You don't have to do it. You should feel kind of good and rich. Come back and take the left leg straight out, spreading the toes, firing up the leg. So that leg, it's almost, I'd like you to have this sense that this left leg is tethered. You know where your lungs and your heart rest, live, reside. Imagine that left leg is starting right from there. It's not limbing. Okay, start to drive forward on that plane, plug where you need to plug up, feel the strain, and then start to bend. And I don't mean strain in a bad way. Again, adjust the neck if you started to lift the chin. It's very normal to want to go farther, but try not to, because you lose that very important line in the front body. Be okay. We're not going super low. Just build that strength and up. Back out of the wrists. Bring the left foot down and really reach down the pinky side for a moment, because we have the hands to push into that. Maybe lift the left hip up a bit. Maybe not. And then left hand leaves the mat, comes up, stacks above the right. Lengthen the right waist, and then just come forward and back on the ball of that left foot to feel the buoyancy that we can move and kind of flow with it. And then maybe tease up a little bit of a leg lift. And then feel the strength. Remember, I think we often think core is just, abs and a six-pack. Core is your chest, your upper back, your lower back, your belly indeed, your hips and your glutes. Take the leg down and find the mat with the whole foot. Just do it because it just feels so much better. And then sweep the left arm back down, pivot on that back foot, bring the knee in, settle a little bit back, flip the hands if you want, or just get out of them. And then just come stacked on those shins. Just take the shoulders, maybe one at a time. I find if we roll the shoulders up and back at the same time, we have a tendency to flare at the diaphragm and we go too far and then the body can't accept it. But if we go one shoulder, just whatever, you pick first, right shoulder, and then that's it. Okay, shift away. You're taking the right leg forward so that the ankle is below the right knee. Right hand scoops into the lower back and the left arm reaches up out of that left knee. Just wait for a moment where it's like when you exhale here in this posture, you want to feel the lines radiating from sky down and from earth up and sort of blending at your waist. And then we're going to slowly let those go the opposite directions as we take a side bend. Plant that right foot. Really reach open the left chest to the sky. Feel where you want to promote more opening. Maybe it's just the ribs, the breathing muscles. Maybe you want to go for the waist, or maybe you want to feel the hip a little bit. And then close that off. And bring that arm down. Let the right arm follow suit and palms both facing in, toes under of the left foot. You'll be on the kneecap and the ball of the foot, or the toes more likely, and the right foot. Press down the right foot and lift this left knee up. It's only inches. And here, if you feel energy flowing over the front of your pelvic bowl, so if you, that's kind of this sign, if you feel a little limp here, just refine it, kind of bring a sense of length to your form. Feel reaching up through the crown, this lovely space at the side of the neck, both sides. Okay. Now, straighten the back leg, maybe not all the way, it might be too much, but start to follow suit with the trunk. And we'll lean into that arrow lunge. Right hand drifts to the sacrum, palm in. Left hand goes down to the right thigh. Chest is still square, kind of looking over your mat. And just offer this right hip and bottom, glutes to the back wall. And yet don't let the knee change. Make sure you're strong through this right leg. And then at some point, really connect with your spine. Think maybe navel, diaphragm, everything's moving in unison as we spiral over, as we lunge. It's not going to be your deepest because this is a strong balance, twist, lunge, a lot going on. That's why I've kept our hands here, just allowing them to rest on our body for ease to connect with here. You can throw your hands all over the place, but I think it's nice to keep them in this loop. Stay here, spread the feet down, reach them down into the ground, and then let go of both sides and the hands come to the hips, still in that arrow lunge. Reach the arms down and back, creating a lot of space in the shoulders. And then here it is, the left knee bends and comes back down to the mat. Woohoo, release the foot. Bring the right leg back. Left one forward. Arms down by the sides. And you really feel this dropping in of the shoulders into the body. So you don't feel like this. You're taking the stress and pulling it up to your ears. Turn the toe under. Lift. That's it. Try to keep. Oh, sorry. I forgot. Come down. Left hand to the back. Right arm up and over. See, that's even after all these years. I didn't originally wasn't going to put this posture in with the last, but I chose it. And then it escaped me because I had the stronger version. Up. Bring the hands down. Now turn the toes under. Take stock of how the lower back feels, how the hip flexor on your right side. May not enjoy it. The kneecap, get off it. See, I tend to be far stronger on my right side and hence tighter. So right now it's extremely taxing. But that's okay. We're okay. We're not going to cry. Okay. Go into your arrow lunge. Again, find the purchase through both legs, because the minute we start moving forward in our practice, like a lot of warrior stuff, is we tend to dump all our energy forward. And it teaches us not to give up too much. We need to hold some back for ourselves, for stability, for balance, for grounding. And that's in the back leg represented in this posture. Because the front leg, everybody focuses on. Don't forget where you came from. Right hand, left hand. Keep the chest square as we just really reach that left hip and buttock to the back space. Feel the ground. Just maybe get really aware of how it feels to have the skin of the feet touching the ground. It's kind of cool. And then allow the lunging, hinging, twist to develop. And breathe through it. Balance. Feel all those micro movements of the body that we are doing to stay balanced. Come back, let the hands come down. Bring that knee down. Release the foot. Come back, let the left hip Okay, send the hips towards the heels, but don't bring them all the way back. We're going to bring the hands forward, taking up space, plant them, and we're going into downward dog. So you know how it feels for you to go in it. And since it's the first one, I really suggest you take it slowly, like rich molasses, really feeling the ground beneath those 4 points, noting where tightness is harboring or resistance, thickness, and then breathe into the shape. Breathe into this hinging inversion. And let's slowly take our steps up to the hands. At some point, you're going to have to tuck your back so that you can get there and bend your knees. Get up, keep the feet hip distance apart, and find a dangling ragdoll so the legs are bent at the knees. The spine is draped out of the tipped pelvis. And then I just invite you to kind of bob and weave. So you may want to come a little higher. I've come higher and I'm just going to like open one side of my body and then dangle the other side. Bob, bob, bob. Something that feels good. Or find stillness. Just let that blood pool in the head and the fingers as we continue this inversion. And then gently and slowly find an inhale and honor it. Come up. Press the feet down as we come up. Try not to lead with the chin. Feel it coming sort of from the back of your heart. And you're coming up. You're still domed. Press down to the feet. When you exhale, just connecting with the earth. You may take another couple of breaths. For me, it's this very last one. Stack the arms, or stack the ears, open the arms, maybe pinky side for a moment, and stand. Shift the weight. I probably wouldn't even see you do it if we were all together, just finding the weight between the heels, the toes. Sense the center of both of the heels. Notice where we have a tendency. Some of us tend to inward rotate, put more pressure on the inner foot. Some of us do this, especially if you tend to bow-legged, you'll tend to put more pressure on the outside. So let's even that out and just, you can do it washing dishes or something. Just play with your feet and their connection in relation to the ground beneath. And then we're going to add the hands up in that very classic standing posture, Urdhva Hastasana, very old. Breathe here. If you're feeling tension at the shoulders, the tops of the shoulders, open your arms a little bit or just work with that and see if that's a sign that I can really sink those arms down towards my waist. Okay. Arms will fly away, so palms, and we're going to come to half stand. So getting this hinge working. Right over, hips to crown in one line. Stay here, breathing, refining, bringing the weight forward without squinching the toes. That's a very normal reaction where the toes will pull in because you feel just trust you're not going to fall over. Fire up your thighs. Okay, we're going to bring the arms out to the side to cactus arms. So this, and then they bend like goalposts. Bring the shoulder blades to the spine. And then when you feel nice and attacked there, sit back into your variation of Utkatasana. Yeah. Let's bring our elbows. A lot of us are a little like this. Try to feel your way up here and then move into your upper back and feel the strength building here. Or tiredness building here. Okay, press through the heels and come back up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then bring the hands to the back of the hips all the way down, palms in, chest rises. You can make that a little bit more if you want to really spread the chest up towards the sky. Be careful of the neck. Make it about the chest, not about the back of the neck. And then finish back down. Okay. Let's do this with a standing pose flow on our breath work here. So inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana, exhale, half over. Inhale, go post arms. Exhale, adding the exhale and half over. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale back down behind the hips. Inhale the chest. Exhale, find neutral as the arms come down by the side of the body. Inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sweep, move the energy around us, sweep it back and over. Bend the knees, sit back, goalpost arms. Going back to half, send the feet down to the core of the earth, reach through the crown. Inhale, sweeping back up, lining up, fingertips to ankles. Exhale, bring the hands back down, get a lot of mobility for the shoulders. Inhaling, the chest widens, reaches up. Exhale, feel the release and the comfort when we bring the arms down. Last one. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, sweep and fold. Getting the backs of the legs. Inhale, goalpost arms, Utkatasana variation. Exhale, fly over the legs. Feel that strength. Inhale, sweeping back up, and finally exhaling down to the hips, the back of the body, and take the heart opener or whatever you want to call it. And down. Nice. Taking the right leg behind the left. So now being aware that what we've just done is narrowed our foundation, making this a lot more work. Deliberately reach down the inside of both legs towards the inside of the feet. That will really help feel like nice big fullness of through your feet because we've narrowed, as I said, right down. And remember, we are also unique. And remember, if you have bigger hips, these kind of things are really challenging. So you got to start to go, oh, I hate that. I can't, it throws me off. You go, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to stay like this. I do it all the time. If I go to other teachers, go, you should see, I don't do half of what people, they want me to do. Plant down, right arm is up. We're going to side bend over to the left. Feel how wibbly wobbly, how strange it is, how much we have to activate the inner leg. This way of moving into this posture is standing half move is a great one to foster this awareness of how much we need to work our inner legs. We often don't. We often usually use just the outside of our feet and legs. So this one really works that and goes, hey, that's interesting. It's harder than you think. And then coming up and coming down, undoing that cross leg and go the other side. Again, I should have mentioned the crossing of the legs. I want you to feel kind of not pulled. And if you're feeling flesh is getting caught in the way, adjust to a spot that it doesn't and make sure your knees are comfortable. Press down again, the inner feet. The inner feet. It builds a lot of strength through the feet, mind you. Left arm is going to come up now. The right one just hangs here for the moment. I'd avoid this. You'll see a lot of people put this. This is not the posture. You overdo on your hips. So just leave the right arm. Learn how it is. It is flaccid and just hanging out there. Left one comes up and over, stretching in to this shape and really fill it up. So I've just gone, oh, I'm going to get a little bit longer, a little bit more open, a little bit more rooted through the inner feet and just travel through the shape as we breathe, enjoying it because you'll never be in it again. It'll be different if you ever practice that shape again. And then up and over, undo. And standing at the top of the mat. We're going to continue with this flow. Having said that, we are going to end up in downward dog. So if you miss out something or go more quickly, stay there with us. That's what you do. So you don't end up standing and we're all, that's how you start to work, how you can work in a flow with a group. Well, we're not all together, but the other thing I've chosen today is that when we're going down, I'm going to cue stepping back. So I'll say step back. And this is what I usually do, as we step back to plank, we refine it on the inhale and then we go back. Okay. We're not doing that. When I say step back, you got to learn it's the exhale. There's a pause. You step back. That's one move. You're not going to plank and moving that. It's get back here. That's one exhalation. So we'll start at the top of the mat. We'll do some sthiti here, very classic opener. Very classic standing pose. And you just see when the hands come up to onto that midline, it just really focuses on zing, zang, zong, because the big toes are sort of touching and you just become this column. Inhaling, open. And exhale, bring the palms together, kind of unzip, just let it just trace down that midline until we find the mat with the hands and the crown down. If you want to straighten your legs, go ahead. Inhaling, reach away. And here it is, exhale. So there's the pause. Stepping back, exhaling, release the feet. Look at the shape, forearms down, inhaling, you see we're coming into forearm plank. Exhale, knees down, elbows out, forehead down. Inhale, root the pubic bone, lift up. Exhale, separate the hands, bring them below the shoulders and offer the forehead down. Inhale to cobra. You don't need to go super high. And here it is, exhale, pull ourselves up and back, find the hinge and downward dog. Spread the body out, radiate sideways as well as longitudinally. Okay, step to the hands, finishing the breath in a tuck. This is a tiny tuck, spread the back. Inhaling, lengthen as high as you need to get the length. Exhale, fold. This is a standing forward fold of some sort. Inhale, pass half, add the arms, sweep them all the way back up. Exhale them down around, getting nice movement for the shoulders all the way around, anchoring them where they started. Inhaling up. Now you can embellish if you feel like using a heart opener there. Offer the crown down. Inhaling, become out length. Exhale, plant the hands, knees. Still exhaling all the way back. Inhale, forearms. Gazing at the space between the thumb tips. Find that fire. Exhale, pubic bone down, elbows out, forehead down. Anchor the hips, lift. This strengthens the back unbelievably. And separate the hands. Look at that shoulder movement, forehead down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, up and back, downward dog. Stepping to the hands, finishing that exhale in the tuck, doming the back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take the fold of some sort, crown to ground. Inhale, past half, add the arms, bring them up, and exhale all the way down. Feel the shoulder move and the arms in the sockets. Yeah. Inhaling, last one. Exhale, all the way down. Really expose the back of the neck and the back of the body. Inhaling, lengthen. And exhale to your knees and back, prostration. Inhale, forearms, move the shoulders over the elbows, find your height. Exhale, lower down. Find the mat with the chest and the forearms out. Inhaling. And here it is, stretch the back of the neck. So forehead at the hairline comes down, hands come beneath the shoulders, elbows reaching back, inhaling to cobra. Nice rich back bend, not the deepest you have to do, and invert. And nice. And step through to the top, finishing in the tuck, exposing the kidneys, the adrenals, lift, bring them back in. So finding that balance between opening and closing all the way back up, adding the arms above the crown, and then sweeping, smoothing out that field all the way back down around. And we come where we started. Samstiti. Bring a hand to the chest and another hand over top of that. We'll just let the chin soften down for a little moment. Let go of that. Bring the hands to the hips, bend. Find, it looks like we're going into Utkatasana, but we're not. We're just going to take the hands to the kneecaps. Sorry, I should have said feet are together, and just do a couple of circles with the knees to the right, or if you choose to the left, doesn't matter. Me three, and then switch sides. Gently, mind you, they should feel nice and lubricated. And we'll just do our wrists. So maybe outward, maybe inward. Oh, yes, maybe fanning out. The hands open and close. It looks silly, but it feels really good. And we'll come to the stand, and we're going to have our block. If you have it, if you don't, you're going to be doing, and I really, block is for a reason. We did it yesterday. Block is on its highest if you have it. If you don't have your block when we're going into this, just be okay with this, okay? Because I don't want you to collapse your waist, and the block is there because we're going to go down and we're going to try to invert instead of float. So stepping back with the left foot for Trikonasana on the right side. So it's a little less of a distance. Excusez-moi. Hands on the hips. And just instead of feeling that your left hip is kind of, you're making a smile with your hips like this, just like slide it, feel it more. You're sliding it on the same plane. So as opposed to, shrinking this left waist and really sticking the hip up like this, try to honor the side body as we just get some opening in the groins on the right side, and we're tilting over. Now let's visit the feet. Lift the toes and replace them down. Feel full-footed. And let's spiral this right heel in. Press it down, ground it, and bring it inwards without it moving, of course. And that should help you feel more in tune with your right hip and the way your leg is entering your hip. And then let's take a floating Trikonasana. You'll see people putting their hand on the floor and everything. And that's wonderful, but it's a surefire way to either dump or because if you can't get there, your waist is everything has to give in. And this is suspended Trikonasana in flight. Feel the work and everything is doing. Look down at the toes of your right foot. Inhale, back up. And this is what I was talking about. I'm going to move down a little bit because I hit my head yesterday. The block is tall and on the pinky side, okay? Pinky side of your right foot, pinky toe side. But you're going to have to learn it for yourself. If you don't have it, this is what you're going to do. Remember, this is what you're going to do. Lovely. If you have it, find it. Put your hand. Mine's too close. I'm going to move it. Okay, and then press in. Keep that left leg coming right out of the hip for the moment and start to open the right shoulder like we did in that opening sequence. Right? Extend the arm. These are just phases, and see if bending at the right elbow and dipping the crown down and falling. Don't fall over. Okay. And then bending that right leg to find the mat again. Let go of your block and come up. Pivot forward, stand, and do it on the other side. Right leg is going back. The left leg is standing forward, creating that semi-wide stance. Again, instead of feeling like your hips are moving up like a smile, slide them. Really focus on maintaining and respecting the space on the side of our body. Forget where we're going, enjoy the ride. So like on this side, that's about it for me. Feels good. And then this is where the yoke happens, right? Once we move into that, then we find the ground. So seek the ground first, then let the energy pile up the legs. Fine, see where we can refine, take the arms out. Notice the comfort in the neck. There should not be any knee pain, right? That's it. If you want, you can just visit the left side of the body. You want to feel nice and long and open there, not squinched in like a side bend. This is a hinge, not a side bend. Look down at the toes. Inhale back up. Feel the work of the lower back and the core. Find your block. Progress. Arms. And then start to dip. I'm gonna hit my desk. When exiting, it's probably best to bend that left leg, this front leg, just so that she can find the mat a little more easily. Okay, we're here facing the long side of the mat. Simply turn the toes of the left foot slightly in. Hands are at the leg creases, elbows are looking back. We're going to come halfway, Prasarita Padottanasana, so halfway, but the legs are spread and the hands come down under the shoulders. This is where you might want to slightly bend your knees if it's too much. All I ask that you really focus on keeping this lift in your bottom so that your lower back maintains its natural curve as best you can. I don't want you to feel that you're doing this, okay? Just try to bend your knees as much and squat like that to try to really work on learning how to maintain, develop, honor that strength of the spine, okay? If you're here, then begin to walk the hands out, lowering the ears, feeling the ground beneath the hands, beneath the feet, stretching out the inner groins. Up, walk the hands in. When they come in, you might come to your fingertips, whatever you need to turn the toes out. Okay. And we're going to slowly walk over to the right side, stretching out the left. Keep your bottom, don't let your bottom sink below your hips. Try to keep it at hips, or, really develop a lot of space right across the groin into that left adductors, the insides, the thigh. Just find the nuances here. Notice if you feel nothing, why? What's giving up where? How can we really soak in the benefits? And then come back, move to the other side. Lower, sink, or raise, depending on what's called for. Okay, come back to center. And here, you're just going to pivot on that back right foot. Okay, so lift the heel of the right foot and turn it around. The hands are supporting us. Just walk them around, lift the toes of the left and pivot them forward. And eventually you will take the left leg and step back and you'll be in downward dog. Okay. Let's go down, separate the knees, keep the toes curled under, and just take the knees to the outer edges of the mat. I wouldn't take them off the mat. It's not necessary. Keep the feet turned under, start to walk back. Remember, this is where you might have to go, oh, that's it for me. Remember, that's great. The only reason it feels really good. Just sit with this and we'll just take the arms, take the right arm under the left and vine them into eagle arms, the knife edge. So the pinky side of the left hand is looking forward, elbows up to kind of shoulder height, and just take the upper arms away. Just notice the response in the upper back. Try to maintain some sort of lift in the chest though, so you don't end up like this, right? Stay nice and tall. When we unbind, do it slowly so they don't snap, and go to the other side right away. Lining, binding. Those feet are getting a bit of a workout, aren't they? Undoing. Bring the legs together, lift off those heels, flip the feet, Take the arms up and just go back for a counter pose. Strong though it may be. Good. Come up and we'll do it in a back bend. Take the hands this time. In the hands, imagine that we're sort of placed our thighs and our hips against a wall or something more solid. It's a good way to, that's how you can practice camel. We're just doing it sort of a version, very gentle version of camel, keeping the hips forward and slowly allowing the chest to expand. Elbows come towards each other. And let's go. Find downward dog. So stretching out, taking up space on the mat. Just take time to have at least a full cycle in stillness or whatever you call stillness, not pedaling it out. And we will step through to the top of the mat, coming cross-legged and tall in the spine, just hands somewhere on your knees. An easy pose. And we're gonna, you can use the right hand for external leverage, this is what we call, and turn the spine to reach over the right thigh. I'm using my left arm slightly to brace myself to encourage the depth. And then find the ground with the hands or the fingertips and just lean over this right thigh. Keeping nice and strongly reaching down through both sides of your hips and your bottom. Your seat. Again, allow the creativity, to foster the playfulness, right? Because I was just going to say, this is where I had in mind for us today, but I know that say my body was going, oh, please, 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 please just go over a little bit more. And so I'm going to do that. Changes the posture, but it feels really good. And come up and back to center. And we'll just do the same thing on the other side. Again, allowing for your unique expression to shine through. You know, so here we're really working on the hinge and the work in the right side of the back. Or we make it a fold, like I want to. Come back up. Bring the legs out, take the left leg straight out and put the right one, cross it over and see if you can keep the right foot planted down on the ground. And just, this is what the knee and the hip want to do because it feels really good. So we're going to have to be mindful of encouraging this knee, the right knee, to look upwards as opposed to outwards. And we're going to do that by just bracing ourselves. So take the left arm and tuck the right knee in the eye of the left elbow for a moment and just sit a little bit taller and see if, oh, even that has some interesting hip work there. And then reach the right hand behind. That's for stability and for length. Just to be mindful of reaching up through the crown when we inhale, taking the twist. If you're hearing that sound, that's rain on my roof. I don't know how loud it is, but it's loud for me. And maybe this time the chin does follow the neck, cervical section of the spine does yield a bit more and find a backward looking gaze. And then come out of it slowly. Uncross, take the right leg out, left leg finds its space on the opposite side of the knee. Tuck that knee. Whoa, this side's a lot stiffer. You see, this might be where you actually stayed. For me, it feels really good, but let's do the same we did on the other side, which is this version of the seated twist. A lot of these things and parts of the spine no longer like flush. We have to mechanically flush areas of the body, squeezing that fascia. So it lays itself in this lovely pattern, not cross-hatched, but this lovely tapestry of supple fascia. Come back, undo the leg, going to reverse table. So feet down, hands down, finding the distance that's right for you and lifting the hips up, reaching back with the crown of the head, and then find the foundation through the feet. So you probably only feel the heel. So try to feel it under the toes and the ball of the foot. Try to feel it not just in the heel of the hand where you're clawing your fingers. Try to feel the posture. Press the first joint of the fingers down. Did you feel your arms fire up a little bit? Perhaps healthier? Great. And then when we come down, bring your bottom closer to your heels if you can. Doesn't really matter. Open the knees as we bring the soles of the feet together. Not too deep though. Okay, forearms, and we're gonna just drop the back into lower back into the mat. And you'll feel kind of squeezed up in the front body. That's a good sign. Notice how when we're here on our forearms, our shoulder blades are sort of away from the spine. Interesting. Leave them like that, kind of neat. Bring them down so you really feel the spine is going down along that line, and then the shoulder blades, and then the outside edges of the shoulder blades as we release the arms down, and then lower back moves away from the mat. Hands come to the lower belly in between the hip points. Feel free to close those wonderful eyes, or at least close the lids a little bit more. Already progressing into this softness where the muscles around the eyes release and give space for those eyes to rest, which then gives space for the forehead to release any tension. The muscles along around the cheeks and around the nose and the mouth by the ears. And bring the legs up one at a time. You'll be in constructive rest. We'll just take the hands away, but bring them down to the mat, just on either side of the body for the moment. And then let's get the legs above. So just again, notice that the lower back didn't sink into the mat where you're like that, pulling your belly in nice and neutral. It's more like that sort of girdle that's both sides, front and back, kind of moving in towards the spine in every direction. But it's the soft, and the legs are you got to get there's a sweet spot where gravity doesn't pull on the legs and the psoas can actually release. This is when you put them actually against the wall. Or you could do this, maybe put your shins on the seat of your sofa and your hamstrings against the front of your sofa or chair. It's so wonderfully healing, restored, whatever, you name it, because one of the fun is that those emotional muscles, the psoas, the pairing and the iliopsoas, once these femurs are so heavy, once they can sink into your socket, then everything goes, oh, goodness gracious, I don't have to do anything. And oh, it feels good. When the legs are above, we're getting the benefits that you get from shoulder stand and headstand. And then hamstrings to calves, or calves to hamstrings, legs down. And this is where you can decide to widen the space between the feet and knock the knees in and do your rejuvenation and integration here, or start to make your way all the way down the mat. Just being really mindful if you're going into Shavasana that if you feel it in your lower back, it's a sign you might want to put something under your knees or adjust to not feel any pinching there. Do your movements, micro movements to find that sweet spot. And then let's close our eyes. And perhaps just connect or sense the aliveness. Just to be here right now. Gratefully still. Just restoring. And yoking. Very gently sort of move back through the layers that you may have passed through. Just allowing your own personal energy field to sort of radiate outwards healthily and vibrantly with vitality. When you feel ready, why don't you just come to your side and just bring yourself to sitting so we can get the head above. Just take this pause. Perhaps lifting the corners of the mouth. Embracing a sense of gratitude. And either labeling it for someone, to someone, or ourselves, or merely just sitting with a sense of fullness, resilience, and perhaps a little bit of ease. Just bring the hands to the head. We'll just fold over towards the ground in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.